Right, this is the murder of Sabah Khan by her sister Sabah Khan. This took place back in the UK in 2016. Now, the people in question are of Pakistani descent. I am of Pakistani descent, so I feel I can explain this story best when I look at the psychological reasoning, if there is any reasoning behind it. So, I'll tell you everything that happened. If you do end up liking this video, please hit subscribe and let it be known that this channel is to show my mom that I am not a fraud. So please, please, please help me get to 100k. Okay, so let's move on to the story. Now, in 2009, Sabah and Saima were actually living in Holland, right, at the time. Then eventually they moved to the UK, where they were living with their parents and their two older brothers. Now, it seems in Luton in the UK, where they went, a big hub for Pakistani people, a big hub for immigrants in general. But I think in Luton, the largest contingent of immigrants probably is Pakistanis. Either way, the different generations of this family had lived in that house for years, and it was a tradition for them to live together, care for each other, support each other. Nobody moved out. We're all together, that kind of jazz, right? Saima herself got an arranged marriage with a man named Hafiz Rahman. When I say arranged marriage, in other words, a telephone wedding, right? So the parents would have gone to Saima and said, "Hey, we have X man for you in Pakistan. What do you think?" Saima would have said, "Yeah, it doesn't seem bad. Bring him over, mate. I'll get married." So Hafiz, the husband, worked as a taxi driver, and Saima herself was a care worker. The couple had 4 children together. But also in the family, as I mentioned, was Saima's sister Sabah. And unknown to Saima, her sister and her husband were having an affair for almost 4 years. So let me break this down for you one more time, right? The parents, the older brothers, the 2 sisters, and the husband and the kids are all living in one house. And it turns out Sabah, one of the sisters, is having an affair with Hafiz, the husband. Now you have to understand, as I mentioned in my previous videos, I know in the Western world that having an affair is very much frowned upon, but it is not a crime, right? If you cheat on your boyfriend or girlfriend, or if you cheat on your spouse, that is not a crime. However, in the Muslim Pakistani tradition, in the Hindu or Sikh or whichever of Indian tradition and South Asian tradition, if you cheat on your spouse, if you are caught sleeping around, I don't know if it's a crime per se, but it is looked at very, very, very severely, because for all families the honor is on the woman, right? You know how, like, in the Western world, if a man sleeps around, he's a player, but if a woman sleeps around, she's a what? She's a whore or something, right? I don't know. A woman sleeping around is generally frowned upon. Well, consider what I've just said in the Asian culture, the equivalency of, a woman sleeping around in the Western world, right? So the entire honor of a family is rest on the woman. Now, according to the detectives, Sabah had become infatuated with Hafiz. The infatuation had slowly turned into a toxic obsession, to the point where Sabah could not come to terms with the fact that she had to share Hafiz with her sister. And over time, Sabah and Hafiz often engaged in sexual intercourse, and Sabah became pregnant once. And to keep their affair hidden from their family, Sabah had to abort the child in 2012. Now, in terms of Hafiz, my guess is Hafiz came to the UK and he hit the jackpot, right? The man's living in poverty back in Pakistan. He's probably earning $5 a day, right? Probably 2 meals a day, max, probably the same meal every day, two roti with, I don't know, some lentils or something. I don't know, but that would be my guess, right? Somebody gives him a call, says, "Hey, there's a girl in the UK." He thinks to himself, because his Hafiz's idea, his notion, his images of the Western world have all been given to him through the TV, right? So he looks at MTV, he looks at, I don't know, CNN, right? I'm just giving you hypotheticals. He looks at American movies and British movies and think, "Oh my God, what a wonderful life! How great it is over there," right? And of course, when people of his ilk land in the Western world, it's a completely different environment. But sometimes nothing is ever what it seems, and to him, England was the golden ticket. Without hesitation, he don't even care if he likes this girl. He's coming to the UK because he knows now, I am chilling. I got food on the table. I got a proper house. I got proper electricity. I can get a car, etc., etc., etc. To him, right, in his mind, um, I don't think he's having an affair in his mind. I think in his mind he's thinking he's been enticed by Western what's the word? Western delights, if you will. Right? Like in Pakistan and in India it's pretty conservative, right? You don't see men and women often holding hands or anything of that nature. Right? I know I've been to Pakistan like maybe 7 or 8 times. It's not a bad thing, it's just the way it is over there, right? Whereas Hafiz came to England and decided to be a player. So in his mind, he's thinking, I've got both sisters. It's probably an ego thing for him. I am smashing both sisters. Look at me, some villager boy from Pakistan. All my days, I have made it in life, right? I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but like I said, I'm guessing that's what his mentality would have been because I've known like 100 other boys like this, not with the sisters, of course, but nonetheless, players, right? I'm not saying I was one of them. That's a different discussion for a different day. Anyway, according to his barrister, which is a lawyer, Hafiz later inquired if he could marry two sisters. I mean, it got to the point where Hafiz's ego became so big, he inquired to a lawyer if he could marry two sisters, right? So the affair continued, and because of the affair, tensions between the two sisters began to escalate. Now, in the research that I did, right, Saima and Hafiz announced to the family they are thinking of moving out. So I don't know if at this point they all know there's an affair going on, but I think they know something weird's going on, and Simon thinks, "Fuck this, I'm getting out. I'm getting away from this. I'm gonna live my life, right?" And Hafiz says, "All right, no problem." The problem with this is that Sabah got more jealous that she's now away from Hafiz. So what did Sabah do? And this is where it gets interesting. Sabah googled how to buy poison online, how to buy a venomous snake, and she even paid £5,000 to a witch doctor in Pakistan to put a spell on her sister. And this is where we're going to do a further deep dive on what this actually means, and I'm going to give you an insight into how Pakistanis fix problems they don't know how to fix, right? So, obviously, at this point, Sabah is obsessed that she's willing to kill, right? She's overly emotional. I get the poison bit and the venomous snake. She wants to, like, you know how killers research how to kill, right? Okay, that makes sense. But this witch doctor thing, I'll explain it to you. So, in Islam, as Muslims, we believe, and these two were Muslims, this family was Muslim, we believe in black magic, right? We believe in the dark arts, if you like it. We believe in dark forces, right? In Christian mythology, this is called demons, exorcisms, all that kind of stuff, right? So, what a witch doctor in Pakistan will do is, in terms of a spell, so this is how it works, right? A person, a person will decide they want to have the finer pleasures in life, right? So what they'll do is they will contact spirits. And the way they do this is there are, how can I put it? Basically, they're told, by the way, if you don't believe in any of this, that's completely fine. It doesn't matter if you believe it. What's important is the stupidity of it all, right? So to become one of these witch doctors, right? They're not actually witch doctors. They are custodians. They are black magicians. Sorry, that's the best way to put it, right? So what they do to become a black magician, what you have to do is you have to go to like a graveyard, take the body or a bone or something, and do some kind of ritualistic act, and some prayer or whatever. Call some spirits, right, or demons, right? Then you will be assigned a demon, yeah, and you can have contact with the demons. You don't just have to do that, but that's one of the things you have to do. I know it's stupid, I know, but I wanted to go into this anyway. The one fallacy in that is you're never going to control this demon because, well, you can't see the demon, so how are you controlling it, right? But the point is that people will go to these, like, if what do you call it, Sabah may not have known that this was a black magician, but she knew this guy was dodgy, right? So she would have gone to him for a number of reasons. Sometimes these people are not black magicians and they are legit religious healers. Again, whether you believe that or not is not the point. The point is these are legitimate people who just do a few prayers and hopefully everything is okay. But what this guy would actually do, what an actual black magician will do, is he'll order his demon, and demons can travel at the speed of light, to run to the person in question. In this case, it is Saima. to go and get information to then he can relay it back to whoever's paid him, right? And when Sabah asked him to put a spell on her sister, what she's asking is do what you can to separate them, right? Whether this is the evil eye or whether this is making Hafiz sexually impotent or making Hafiz lose his job or making him become more violent towards Saima or making Saima depressed or whatever it takes to end this relationship, go and do it. This to me is a far bigger issue than the poison she was interested and the venomous snake. And the reason why is because, again, it doesn't matter whether you believe it or not, but if you're willing to go through this length, if you believe in all of this and you're willing to go through this much length, it shows how fucked up Sabah is. Now, on May the 23rd, 2016, Sabah was babysitting her sister's children. The rest of the family and Hafiz were attending a funeral at the local mosque. Late that night, Sabah asked Saima to come home by informing her through text that her youngest child was crying for her mother. Okay, Saima, right, time for you to come home. I can't handle the kids anymore, right? And the CCTV footage from a neighbor showed that Saima entered her home around 11 p.m. that night. So Saima walks in, she turned the lights on. Sabah then attacks her with a knife that she got from the supermarket. She stabbed Saima repeatedly. She almost decapitated her. Reports state that she continued to stab her sister even after she was dead. Saima had been stabbed 68 times. The 68 times is confirmation of the jealousy and instability of Sabah. One of the blows had pierced Saima's neck while severing several arteries and the jugular vein. Sabah then broke a window and hid the murder weapon along with the black bloodied clothing she was wearing at the time. Sabah then called her parents and emergency services, informing them that a robbery had taken place and her sister had been attacked. However, the investigating officers soon figured out that Sabah was deceiving others with the lie of a robbery gone wrong when they found the murder weapon in her room and thereafter arrested her. Stupidity, doo-doo, dum-dum. How do you do all this and have the murder weapon in your room? In the beginning, Sabah denied charges of murder. However, at a brief hearing at the Old Bailey in October 2017, she changed her plea to guilty. During her sentencing, the court saw various evidence of Sabah's growing obsession with Hafiz. A few social media messages exchanged between Sabah and Hafiz read in the court revealed that Sabah calling her sister X, Y, and Z, she's a bitch or whatever, and accusing Hafiz of marrying Saima only to get a passport. This goes back to what I said about him being in Pakistan and thinking, I don't care who I'm getting married, I'll go have the time of my life by going to the UK. Now, in his statements during the interrogation, Hafiz had blamed Sabah for instigating the relationship between him and her. Sabah had reportedly threatened to hurt herself if Hafiz broke up with her. Now, you see that, right? Have a look at the thinking there. Hafiz taking no responsibility, right? I find it immature for him to say, well, Sabah was the one that led it on. Well, doesn't mean you had to be led on, but anyway, that don't matter. But look at the wording there, right? Look at the way this has been put. Sabah was going to hurt herself if Hafiz broke up with her. Hafiz is married to Saima, but obviously Sabah saw him as her property, right? And this further emphasizes the obsession. She continually messaged Hafiz, professing her love for him, and she researched into different ways to kill someone. In fact, she looked at every single angle of this. She even searched, is falling in love allowed in Islam? Of course it is, but she looked at every conceivable angle how she could make this work for her. Now, what's interesting is there was someone who Hafiz knew that was interested in Sabah, but he told that person, mate, stay away from her, she's crazy. I don't think Hafiz said no, don't marry her because he was jealous. I think he genuinely was telling his friend, mate, she's a nutcase, you don't want this. In a statement read out by Hafiz to the court, he said that he was ashamed for committing adultery and stated that not a day goes by where he didn't regret doing what he did. He added, the ones who are suffering the most are my children, as they have lost the most important woman in their life, their mother. Sabah was sentenced to life in prison, with a minimum of 22 years after she confessed to killing her sister. She remains incarcerated in Bedfordshire in the United Kingdom. An appeal was filed by her legal counsel. However, the judges dismissed it because they didn't find that the minimum term imposed by the sentencing judge was manifestly excessive. So, now we come to my conclusion. I mean, a lot of what I would think post my research is what I told you. This was a case of jealousy, stupidity, and just impulse, right? Like she had nothing else in her life except to take her sister's husband. I can, as I've told you guys before, I can rationalize jealousy to a certain degree, right? But firstly, to be interested in your sibling's partner is a disgrace, in my opinion. Like, I have a sister that recently got married, right? And I have two younger brothers. Now, if my younger brothers were to marry an individual when they do get married, I'm never ever going to be interested in them. It's not something that would ever enter my mind. I don't think, you know, Sabah coming from Holland and coming to the UK, I don't think, unlike the case of Hafiz, where he would have seen England as a brand new world compared to Pakistan. I think because Saima and Sabah had already lived in Holland, I think they were already used to Western life. I just think Sabah was a nutcase. Simple as. The fact that she went to a black magic practitioner, trust me, that shit is true. That's no joke. I'm not lying to you. All that happens. Trust me. Like my mum, and there's times where I remember I used to have when I was younger, I used to have a dream where someone was stabbing a knife in my head, right? I don't think it was religious. I just think it was, I don't know what it was, but I used to have these dreams. So mom went to some guy, right? And she goes, look, my son's having these dreams. What can we do to fix him religiously, right? Because obviously my parents are quite religious. He basically said, now remember it, right? He said, read this passage from the holy book and then take this piece of paper, pour it in water, and then just drink the water. I did that. I was fine after that. Now, I'm not saying these work, but that is fine. That's something that a priest would do, a rabbi would do, no problem, right? But the moment a black magic practitioner told Sabah, right, that I can get this demon who could run all the way across and find out what's going on. All you need to do is give me their name and give me their phone numbers and give me the number of where they live, which is what happened. That's when trouble comes because all of this black magic stuff is derived by numbers. Numbers are what call spirits. Again, it's stupid, it's dumb. Whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter. This is how they work. So, in the end, Saima, may she rest in peace. I don't think I know this family. I don't think anyone in my family knows this family. But one thing we could all agree, Sabah should never ever be released ever again. Thank you for listening.